Have you ever fallen flat on your face in business or on the pavement? It sure does sting either way. In this video, I am going to share 3 keys to being able to fall physically safely and to fail in business and keep on moving and enjoy it. I'm Karen Valencic, and I'm the author and founder of Spiral Impact, The Power to Get It Done with Grace, and I do leadership and team development. My work is all grounded in the martial arts, and one of the things that we learn in my art, which is Aikido, is how to fall, and it's a way that we can protect ourselves and keep ourselves safe. There's a huge correlation between falling down physically and failing in business. And these 3 tips are going to both help you learn how to fall on the pavement safely and to fail in business and keep on moving. First, I'm going to share the physical aspect, and then I will wrap in the business aspect. Key number 1, physically, bend your knees. If you're ever walking on ice or a slippery surface, just slightly bend your knees. And what happens when you do that is you will become like a shock absorber, and you'll be able to actually reposition yourself very easily to find your balance. If you can bend your knees, you can often prevent a fall, which is always a great thing. I notice I like to hike in the woods, and so often I will trip over a root or something. And what I do is as I'm starting to fall, I just bend my knees, and it brings me back to stability. Okay, so how does that apply to business? Well, let me get my business glasses on, and we'll talk about that. So in business, one of the things that I teach people, and this goes for dealing with any type of conflict, is one of the key principles is to choose to be centered. And centering is an internally balancing process that we do that really opens up our viewpoint. It brings us more stability, which is bending knees is one way to lower your center. And so what that buys you, it buys you perspective. It buys you calmness in the middle of the storm. It buys you insight and gut feelings that can help guide you. And it just overall gives you a feeling of wellness. So it's a very important part of really thriving in today's crazy world. I'm not going to go into great detail about how to build or develop your center, but I have included an audio download below this video that's a free download you can listen to, and it actually gives you a practice. But it'll strengthen your balance and your focus, and it's very much worth your time. Okay, tip number 2, the physical aspect. You want to become a ball. You want to curl yourself up because this will protect you. And what happens, you want to tuck your chin and just make yourself into a ball, and then when and if you fall, it's like a ball that bounces and comes right back up. So you have resilience, rather than like a book falling on the floor and it just smashes and it's flat. And so you're not exposing your entire body to any kind of trauma. You're just becoming the ball. So it's less impact on you. Now, important part of that physically is to tuck your chin. When you tuck your chin, you protect your neck, and particularly if you're going to fall backward, which I recommend actually as a beginner falling practice. You tuck your chin so that when you go back, your head doesn't go back like that, because that can really hurt you. It can actually be deadly if you crack your head. And I have fallen on pavement, and I know how important that is. So how does this fit in business? Being a ball? It fits perfectly. I correlate this with having a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Fixed is where we put something out there in our business and we have all our eggs in one basket, and it fails and we feel lost. So thinking about a mindset, an attitude that's always looking for better, always looking for improvement. And so if that fails, what did you learn? How would you do it differently? How would you engage with your customers? So you become the learner. I also like to think about my work I call spiral impact. And if this is your product or your service, and you go all the way around it and you look at that product or service from all these different directions, from all your different types of stakeholders, then you are becoming, you're kind of being around, you're being a ball and looking at all those different aspects. When you fail, you're learning. I love that quote that I saw from Sarah Blakely recently. She is the billionaire founder of Spanx, and she shared that her father every evening would ask herself and her siblings, how did you fail today? Getting comfortable with failure is a way to really excel. So that is number 2. Key number 3, from a physical standpoint, you want to think about what direction you're going. Now, granted, sometimes falling happens so fast that you can't control it. But if you can, you always want to fall backward. And actually, when you bend those knees, you can actually bend the knees so that your weight is a little bit back, so it makes it more likely you'll fall backward. Why fall backward? It's so much safer because you've got these butt cheeks back here that are great padding. But you also want to think about which side, because you don't really want to fall on the center of your tailbone, because you can get bruised there, and you can also hurt your spine more. So thinking about going from one side to the next shoulder, to the opposite shoulder, is what you want to do for a really good fall. Another direction you can fall is forward. And I really love doing forward rolls. They're very exciting. But falling forward is pretty dangerous. Most of the time when we fall forward, and I've done this before off of a bike, you put your hands out, of course, to save your face, but you can break your wrist when you do that. So falling forward is pretty dangerous. You can also really injure your face and your teeth and everything. So I always say fall backward if you can. But if you're going to go forward, I'm going to show a little video of me going forward. You're going to do the same thing. You want to become a ball, and you want to go forward and really tuck yourself and go over your shoulder, not over your neck. But I don't really advise trying that unless you're on a soft surface and you do it low and you have a coach that can help you go through that, because you can injure yourself. Okay, so how does choosing your direction matter to business failure? Well, I look at direction as purpose or intention. And when you're really clear on your purpose, that's the direction you're going. And so often, failure is not about your purpose. Failure is about the who, the what, the how of getting to your purpose. So for example, I do leadership and team development with an emphasis on conflict mastery. Now, that is where I'm going. There are all kinds of things I experiment with in terms of delivery, in terms of video, in terms of techniques that I teach. Those are all things that I put forth. And I may fail at those, and I have failed at those. But that failure is what teaches me to readjust. And just like when we talked about being round, that's my learning. But my purpose is my direction I'm going. So I want to make sure that if my direction is set this way, and by the way, that direction can also be set with values. And one of my core values is to honor myself and others. And so where you get off direction is, say I decide all of a sudden that I want to start selling satellite dishes or something. That's not going towards my purpose. The likelihood of me failing and not enjoying it would be going off in some tangent like that. Another likelihood of me failing would be to not honor what my values are. So we've got these 3 keys, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up and I am going to show you how to fall. And I'm going to do just a basic back fall. And here we go. So I'm going to walk you through this, and I'm going to get far enough back that you can see me, and I hope you can hear me. So what I want to do is, the first one is I want to bend my knees. And remember, that's all about getting centered. So I've got these shock absorbers. And then I want to become a ball. So I'm going to tuck my chin and I'm going to be round. And then I want to stay on my direction. What direction do I want to go? What's my purpose? And in this case, I am choosing to do a back fall. So here we go. And I'm up. Not too fancy, but didn't take me long to get up, did it? Try to remember those tips the next time you're on slippery ice. You bend those knees. You get centered. You become a ball. I'd love your comments. Ask me questions. Comment in the comments. I would love to hear your experience. And until I see you next time, and by the way, would love it if you subscribed and liked. That would help me out a lot. Until next time, thank you very much, and keep on rolling. Bye-bye.